Okay, so what we're going to do here is a relatively advanced exercise. We're going to take the AR sort amount table in ACL and visualize it using Power BI. Now, to be clear, we could do this straight in ACL in many ways. I'll show you what I mean. Here's our AR sort amount table. We created this in exercise 7, this table. Now, there is a histogram function in ACL. There's our histogram. Now, that is giving me a view over that whole AR sort amount table. And hey, it works. It does what it does. It's not very pretty. It's not very visual. And we want to present to the board our findings, and we need to communicate what we can see. So we'll take this and put it into Power BI. Now, to do that, before we do that, I'm going to go here and just put this into something a bit more meaningful. Automatically, ACL has broken it up into even buckets, which is probably statistically very nice, but you're going to get questions from the board. Why did you pick those bands, those numbers? So what we're going to do is tell it, we know the range is from $6.66 to $5,550. I'm going to just say 0 and 6,000. So that's the minimum range, the maximum. Now, I'm good with numbers, and I know that if I want $1,000 buckets, so I want to show records from 0 to 1,000 in one bucket and 1,000 to 2,000 in another, I've got the full range. I need 6,000 divided by 1,000 is 6. Off it goes. So now I have a histogram that's got about 400 in here for 0 to 1,000, 1,000 to 2,000, etc., 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 all the way. Now I could copy that and put that into my report, but you know what? It's kind of bland. Well, I want to get something similar to that in Power BI. Go into sort amount. This is our table. This is our table we created already before. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to export this data into Excel and trust that I can manipulate the data in Power BI to do what I want to do. Here's data. I'm going to do an export. By default, it goes to Excel. I could put it to any other number of things. Goodness knows the last time I saw Excel 2.1. But this is just plain old Excel. Leave it at the option. I don't need all the fields. This is a visualization only. In fact, all I really need is amount. I just need to know an amount, and I'm going to end up, there are 588 down here, records, and I want to break that out and show a distribution using a histogram. So I just need to know the number and how many times that number appears. Click. Okay. Nope. Output file name. AR underscore sort underscore, amount. There's the file, and that'll become an XLS file. Let's put it to that location there. I'm not a fan of that location, but I'll just browse to it. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. That's opening up in Excel or LibreOffice. I'm using Amazon here. Okay, in Amazon, that's how it looks. It's just giving me all that number. I could have copied and pasted it into Excel. That's well. Let's close that out. Don't save that. Open file location is what I want. This is one of the fun things about ACL. It's dumped it straight into the sample data. I should have browsed to a better location. I know that it's AR sort amount. There it is. Copy that. I shall cut it. Go over to my OneDrive. Paste it here. Paste. That's the previous example that I've done. I'll leave that sit there for a moment. Just double click on that again. You'll see that it's the same file. Should be 588 rows. $589 rows with the header. That's right. Close out of Libra. Okay, there we are. So, Power BI, let's launch that. I've already got it running here. Here's Power BI. I'm going to, so all I've done is fired up Power BI, got a blank, brand new, never been seen before Power BI visualization. I get my data. It's in Excel format, so I'm going to connect to that. AR sort them out. And I've got the first sheet, and there's only one sheet, so there we go. Load that. I now have, close that, that's my old one. This is my new one. There we have all of those records, exactly as I had it in Libra. Now, the astute will know that if I go to here, open up in Excel, I could do any of my data manipulation that I'm about to do in Excel. I could add a column, I could change a number. Let's change that 5549.19 to 600. Save. I'll just save that. Use the Excel format. Go into Power BI. Get it to refresh. See, my 600 has changed. I just edited that in Libra, or I could have done that in Excel. Control Z has brought that back. Save that. Close that. Now I could do a pivot table. I could do all sorts of wonderful things. What I'm going to do is add a column. New column. So right click, context menu, select new column. Here's my column. I'm going to give it a better name. I'm going to call it invoices, because why not? Now, I've been around a while. This isn't my first rodeo. I've used Excel for a long time, and I know that there are some simple tricks. If I did a histogram on just that raw amount number, you know, 210537 down here will get its own column. I don't want that. I want to know, is it between 0 and 1,000, 1,000 and 2,000? I could do a wonderful nested if. Here's something I can do with a number. Okay, so this is exactly the same sort of rationale as you can do with Excel. I'm going to take, firstly, the integer. First thing I'm going to do is I want it to be equal to the amount column. I'm just going to type in the word amount. It's come up. I have another, I've got the amount here, okay, or I could just have the straightforward thing, the whole table. I just want amount. If I do that, press OK, enter, I get the full number. Oh, let's refresh that data to get rid of that 600. Okay, that's exactly the same. Not much help. I could do some Excel type functions. Multiply it by 2. Okay, see how I've now got a formula. Every row is something to do with amount. Okay, this is pretty good. Let's see what happens if I divide it by 1,000. We want buckets of 1,000, right? So 0 to 1,000. Divide it by 1,000, and I get this 5.54919. Okay, this is looking good. But it's a 5.5, you might say. What's going on here? Well, let's say I needed to end up with what I want is just a line that says amount for that bucket. What bucket does this particular invoice fall into? Is it 0 to 1,000, 1,000 to 2,000, etc., etc., etc. So the way to do that is get rid of, firstly, that pesky decimal place. Int is a function that rounds a number down to the nearest integer. So we're going to round it down to its nearest number, nearest integer, whole number. But 544333. Okay, I now know what bucket it is. For my purposes, I'm going to say that if it's 5,000 or more, it's in the 1,000 bucket, the 5,000 bucket. So I just simply type in the multiply by 1,000, enter. Okay, so I can now see that 554919 is in the 5,000 bucket, 4954 is in the 4,000 bucket, and if I go down to the bottom, because remember this was sorted, I got a lot of this 0 bucket. So that means that they are in the 0 to 1,000 bucket. Okay. So I'll leave that as 0 for the moment. I may need to change the label on my final visualization. So let's go to our visualizer. Okay. I said I want a stacked column bar chart, which is this one. Hang on, not that one. Pick the right one. Stacked column chart, here we are. Stacked column, that sounds good. Now, invoices is my bucket. So I want to, this is going to be on the axis. And then I'm going to put it into the value, the same thing. So it's gone here. Now, in the, what I've got is in the, I'll make it a bit bigger so we should get all of the things here. 1,000 of those. So there's, what's going on here? It doesn't look anything like, remember my histogram that I wanted to create? Data, I better just create this again, histogram. There we go, 0, 6,000. Intervals, there's going to be 6 intervals. Okay. I want it to look like that. Doesn't look like that. Why doesn't it, you might say? Well, I need to go to value. I don't want to add it up, I want to count. And what have I got to do? I want to, okay, I'm going to firstly delete this one that I don't need. Go back to here, make it the stacked column chart. Invoices, count of invoices, and so my graph doesn't look very much like what I want it to look like. So what I'm going to do is just go down here to this count of invoices and change from count distinct to just plain old count. And I get something that suddenly looks an awful lot like what I had in ACL. But what I can do is format this up a little bit more nicely. So I can go, firstly I can make it bigger, and that will make sure that my along the bottom appears. What I can do is change this so that in the data colors, I could have a heat map. So the ones where the highest value actually sits, I want to be the biggest color, and the lowest value, so I want that to be red. So highest value, so I'm going to swap these. I'm going to make this red. I'm going to make this a nice cool blue. Click OK. And okay, so here's my red. That bucket there, the 1,000 in invoices that are between 1,000 and 2,000, is 151 of those. They've got the most value. The lowest values are this blue one and up here, which is 0 to 1,000 and 5,000 here. I can also do stuff over here, such as put some data labels on, which will give me the number, like that. And I could put a background on to make that a nice blue or grey. I could give it a transparency, like that. I'll go the other way, make it lighter. 75, 90. So just a nice, straightforward looking graph. I probably don't like that count of invoices by invoices. So what do I want to do? I probably just want to Data lab is on, plot area title, turn that off. Okay, because when I put that now into my Word document, I'm a happy person.